Lawton, Oklahoma is the fifth largest city in the state, but breaking into the music industry as a musician living in the Midwest can be a harrowing feat. Here on After Hours with Cade, I sit down with local artists to discuss the impact Lawton and Southwest Oklahoma has had on their career and how it's shaped their artistry.
I'm Drew. I've been here all my life, 22 years. I make music, been making it for like 3 years now. Just dropped an album on all platforms, feeling pretty good about that. But that's it, I'm just a citizen. That's it.
How did you first get into music?
A couple of my friends, like in high school, we would just, like do the little pencil beats in class and just rap on them. And then over time, one of them got in the studio, was like, hey, Drew, come say something. And then ever since, I just fell in love with that. It's just cool.
When did you first know that you wanted to make it your full-time career?
I say about 2 years ago. I don't know. COVID hit, college wasn't feeling it, just dropped out and was like, I feel like I can do this, so I'm gonna do it.
Growing up, were there any primary influences in your life that kind of led you into the career of music?
My uncle, when I started rapping, just messing around with it before he passed away, he was like, Drew, don't put down that pencil and paper, don't stop. Whatever you do, don't stop. People need to hear this. I was like, okay, whatever, cool. But ever since he passed, I take that to heart. I will not stop. I got to.
I know that you do a lot of rapping, but you also like to intermix within the genres. How would you describe your style of music?
I can't. I really can't. It's all based off of emotion and what I'm feeling at the time. If I were to put a label on it, we could say alternative rap, R&B maybe sometimes, but I can't really put a label on it. Lawton's kind of real black and white. It's either you're doing everything in Lawton or you're doing nothing in Lawton. And if you're doing nothing in Lawton, you have to have a lot of creativity. There's a lot that goes on outside of Lawton that you have to be tapped into, the people in Lawton, how they treat you. There's a lot of shady stuff going on, and that packs into a lot of what I talk about.
Start making connections, and when did you start getting into the studio professionally?
I Googled studios near me one time, and this man Future popped up, and it said he worked with a whole bunch of artists, and he charged about $90 an hour, and I was like, let me see what this is like. And after I recorded with him, he was like, Drew, this kind of hot, Drew. You should put this out somewhere. This one kind of fire. I'm messing with it. And then ever since that, every time I go to him, he keep trying to get me to put stuff out. And I'm like, hey, if he's saying it, I got to.
So you guys have a working professional relationship now?
I wouldn't say a professional relationship. He works with a lot of people. I don't think he's focused on me, but he definitely thinks that if anyone got what it takes, I'm one of the people, I feel like.
Right now I'm out of my mind today. Put them up high, can't touch back down. It's just that kind of day. All black fit with the hood up. I don't wanna talk today. I don't got time to waste. I don't contemplate. Hold up, wait.
Trying to break into the industry while living in Lawton really isn't easy because we're not a big town, especially with music. What has your experience been like trying to break in?
I mean, it's a little hard, but you shouldn't really be focused on that when you're making music, trying to break it out. You should just make it because you want to make music. Money and fame, it's cool, but it's not going to make nobody happy at the end of the day. So if you're not making music because it's fun to make music and you like putting your thoughts and emotions into the world, then it don't really matter. But it's definitely a little hard being from a smaller town, but there are ways to make it. Social media is a big one right now. Big one. TikTok and Instagram Reels and all that. Keep doing that, somebody's gonna watch it. Kind of feels like I'm in a box looking out at everybody else living the world, And the thought of everybody living life and me working this 9 to 5 in a town that nobody knows about makes me want to go out there even more. It's what you can't have, you crave.
How do you break out of that mentality, especially when you're going into the booth? What's your primary thought process?
My primary thought process is having the mindset that you know where you're supposed to be. Like, you know you're not supposed to be in this small town. Like, you know this track right here about to get us out. Like, that's the mentality. Like, know that you the one.
They don't really hate you, they just mad cause they believe in you. I don't really hate you, I just vanished cause I needed to. Promise if I make it, I won't act like I ain't needed you.
How has the community helped you grow or shape yourself as an artist?
Oh man, the community's dope. Like, the people that listen to it, like, they let you know. They're like, hey, I show my friends as we was all bumping it at a party. Hey, every time somebody new come to the crib, we be bumping your track. I'm like, hey, that's crazy. That's wild. Like, I'll get in the car with somebody, they just boop. I'm like, bro, chill. But no, the people that mess with it. And like my homies, the people close to me, they give me feedback. You know, they let me know what they like and they don't like, and I take it into account sometimes.
I know that your primary producer for your music, Jash, lives here in Lawton as well.
Oh,
How did you guys initially link up? How did that connection form?
Well, we actually went to school together, but we didn't even like know it though. Like, I seen him in the hallways, but we never communicated like that. And then after school, through my friend Sosa, or Jimmy, he shoots my music videos. Through him, me and Jazz clicked up, and he started making my beats, and I was like, oh, this is gas. Like, dynamic duo immediately. Like, the connection was immediate. It was crazy. Yeah, I'll call him up to the crib. He come with the MacBook on the spot. Like, whatever I need, he's right there. Like, I got it.
Over the summer, you performed in Oklahoma City for a preliminary concert for the chance to perform in Atlanta, which you are going to. You're currently gearing up for that. Tell me a little bit about MozFest.
So Future actually sent me an email one day, and I barely check my email. I do now, like, every day, but he sent me an email, and it was like, I saw it the last day to sign up, and it was like, hey, sign up for this show, blah, 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 OKC, Houston, MozFest. And I was like, MozFest, what's this? I looked it up. Go to MozFest. If they like you, they mess with you, they send you to Atlanta. If it's no set amount of people, just if they like you, you go. I was like, all right, I like me. So I went to the show. It was like a last minute decision. We geared up in cars, went, performed. The next day, got the email, hey, we mess with you. Go to Atlanta. It's like an every year thing too. It's great. They do it for all the underground artists. You just try to build them up. They don't ask for no money. I mean, there's tickets at the show, but for the artists, they don't charge the artists to perform, nothing like that. Getting on stage is definitely nerve-wracking. I'm not gonna say nervous, but it gets the blood pumping for sure. In Atlanta, that's definitely a bigger city than Lawton. But performance-wise, I kind of want to do some stuff off the album so people can look it up after and see what I'm talking about. But I don't know. I got some unreleased songs right now that are pretty interesting. I feel like Atlanta will mess with them.
I got problems, I can't solve them. I got choppers in this Honda. I got bottles on top bottles like I'm pouring up a fountain. Got imported to do like this, imported from Cali. Got informants around every corner, forcing y'all to vanish. Back up, back up.
You know, in the span of 5 months, you dropped 2 projects. Talk to me a little bit about the different creative processes you went through.
So the mixtape, I don't care. I feel like that speaks for itself. It was like, I really didn't care. It was like mostly produced by Josh. He just makes some beats. I say whatever I was feeling like talking about on that song, and that was it. I don't care. It was not a quick process, but a relatively quick process to just dropping a mixtape. But if I was a god, that one took a little more time, a little more thought process. It's I don't know, the thought If I Was a God, if you listen to the song If I Was a God, it's kind of talking about the human perspective of being a god and why humans aren't, you know, so it definitely took a little more thought process.
What was the decision process like when it came to distribution? I Don't Care is primarily just on SoundCloud,
Yep.
Whereas If I Was a God is on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, everywhere you stream.
Well, I mean, If I Was a God, I Don't Care was, you know, it was a little earlier in the time. I didn't have as much traction as I do now, so I figured it was just like a starter project. Like, let's see if people really like what we're doing. So I released that, performed it. It got us to the finale in Atlanta, and I was like, okay, cool. So people like what we're doing. a couple people hit me up, hey, this is dope. Why don't you release it on like YouTube so I can add it to my playlist or Spotify? And I was like, okay, people like what we doing, so let's go a little more mainstream to it. If I was a guy that's still on SoundCloud, like you can still get it there, but it's everywhere. It's more accessible, and that's how I want it to be.
Do you plan on releasing I Don't Care or your other singles on Spotify or Apple Music, or are they just gonna live on SoundCloud?
Nah, I think they're gonna live on SoundCloud. Like that's where they started, you know, like this tradition. Everybody had to be a SoundCloud rapper at one point, something like that.
What sets you apart from the next up-and-coming artist from Lawton?
My sound, because you can't really put a label on it. It's very versatile. It can talk to anybody. Like anybody can listen to it and find a meaning in it and a message, I feel like.
Before we wrap, where can people find your music online? What's your social media?
Oh man, Instagram, Drew the Guru, 1968. YouTube, Drew. Spotify, Drew. What else? Apple Music, same thing, Drew. I Don't Care on SoundCloud. If I Was a God on all platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, under Drew.
Is there anything that you would like to say to the people watching right now?
Good song, we getting out of here. Mama, I love you. Josh, you make great beats. Jimmy, we gonna drop this music video. Everybody gonna go crazy. I love you all.